Okay, I think this is probably the toughest question on the review sheet, so I want to try to walk you through it. It says candies falling off a conveyor belt onto a conical pile at a rate of 15, that should say cubic feet per minute. So that tells me that dV over dt is equal to 15. I know since it's cubic feet, it's talking about volume, and per minute tells me it's talking about a rate. Also, the fact it says rate. It also says the diameter of the base of the cone is approximately 3 times the height. So the diameter is equal to 3 times the height. Now it says when the height is 20 feet, so we have h equals 20, what is the rate at which the height is increasing? So we're looking for the rate of the height, we're looking for dh over dt. Now we're given the equation. It's v equals pi over 3 r, I should say squared, sorry, had some issues on the copy and paste over. And to take the derivative of that, we're going to have to do the product rule. So I'm going to just write this out for you just now, but we basically split it into pi over 3r squared and h. So we do the derivative of the first piece, which would be 2 pi over 3 r dr dt times h, plus the first piece, pi over 3r squared, times the derivative of the second piece, which would be dh over dt. Now let's look at what we have versus what we need. Okay, we already have dv dt, we know that's 15. We already have the height, and we know we're trying to find dh dt, so it's okay that isn't there yet. So as you look, we have some pieces missing. We don't have the radius, and we don't have the radius squared. That's where this piece of information is going to come into play. So what we need to do now is going to require a little bit of room, so I'm going to move this part down a little bit. But we need some information about the radius, and if you think about it, the diameter is related to the radius. The diameter is exactly twice the radius. So we get 2r is equal to 3h. And if we want to solve that for r, we can divide both sides by 2 and get r equals 3 halves h. Okay, well, given this information over here that the height is 20, we can solve for the radius because we can just plug 20 into the equation we have right here. So r equals 3 halves times 20, which means r equals 30. Well, that's great. That means we now have the radius. So that's covered both here and here. But we still need to find dr dt. Well, if you go back to this equation and take the derivative of it, we get dr over dt equals 3 halves dh over dt. So while we're not finding the number that dr dt is equal to, we do have an ability to change it from dr dt to dh dt. So we will take this part and plug it in for dr dt. So while we'll still have a variable, it'll be the same variable we have over here. They'll both be dh dt. At this point, let's plug in all the information we now have. Okay, we were told dv over dt is equal to 15. We know that r is equal to 30. dr dt we are replacing with 3 halves dh dt. H is equal to 20. Again, we know r is 30. And dh dt is what we're searching for. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify this a little bit. If I multiply in this first term the 2/3 times the 30 times the 3 halves times the 20, that should give you 600 pi dh over dt. And then over here we have 1/3, that's really what the 3 on the bottom stands for. 1/3 times 30 squared, it's going to give us 300 pi dh over dt. And then we can add those terms together because they're like terms. They both have pi, they both have dh dt. So that gives us 900 pi dh over dt. We just divide both sides by 900 pi, and that gives us our final answer, 15 over 900 pi. You can also convert that to a decimal if you want. It's about 0.005. Now this is probably the toughest problem on the review sheet. There is a problem like it on the test. If you need to watch this more than once, then do that. You can get this, and then you can do really well on it on the test.